Shall we begin? Chaliwa. Letter to the universe. My mind spoke, and so I wrote. This here is my hope that it inspires you. Anyone out there listening, anyone whoever, maybe today, tomorrow, forever from now, out into the ether this goes, so we'll let it breathe. Is all of existence in the universe, or is the universe part of all existence? It was a question I was pondering for a while. I do recall, and similar to the concept of the idea that we are a universe, which will go on another topic another time, and that we house trillions of things that are living, and we have our own purpose and being and etc. It's an interesting place to be in my mind. So I have a lot of topics about God and these subjects that I would hope to break down further for you guys as we go down deeper into these conversations, because this is kind of where I reside as far as where my mind goes sometimes, and hopefully it adds to the flavor of what's already out there. My own personal view of the unique perspective. So, is all of existence in the universe? Like, is the universe we know everything that exists, or is the universe we know just part of all existence? Different planes, different levels, different areas of consciousness and thought, different possibilities of being, different universes, multiverse. We can play with the question as we want, but it was something that was really driving my ability to write this to myself in some way, shape, or form, like through that landscape, I should say. So let's ride. Infinite, I've contemplated this term and its visual considerations. A curious question arises in the literal sense. What is the energy source of infinite me's? More specifically, if there are an infinite number of me's at this exact moment, infinite amount of times, all writing this letter, calling out for a change, a shift, willingly, toward the projection of potential that is me, down a road that beckons from within, asking without knowing for all the summed up energies that is infinitely me in this moment of existence. What if, guys? Question mark. To sally forth the strength and good fortune of connection with force. This is clearly a fight for the light, the good, the life force we share with all living molecules of existence, that connection to everything that gives rise to reason to move forward. We are all part of the human story. Every person that ever walked the earth affected it in some way. You and I are no exceptions. Each passing moment in conscious time gives us a letter to the universe. A moment to call out and reach inside for your potential, to sum up your strength and will as an individual in the collective story of humankind. At great lengths I will discuss my worldviews and experiences for all to see. This can be my way forward, my story within all of mankind. I wish to build as clearly as I can who I am to you who find me, so that all of my flaws and imperfections, just as my love for everything that defines great will come out as I begin to broadcast the start of a life who wishes to give his all for the light. Homage to Will Smith. Yeah, Will Smith said, when you find that light inside you, you must defend it with your life. Defend the light with your life, is what Will Smith said at one point. So I found that to be quite moving, you know what I'm saying, as far as topics go. I did not want this life anymore at one point, and I contemplated service, a way to turn off the pull inside to do something with the strangeness that is my unique life seemed to have cultivated, struggling with who I was and what I was. I enjoyed strange lengths of imagined problem solving. The topics were no less monumental, from my perspective at least. I often visualized conversations taken further as I communicated ideas, as if I was sitting next to a famous speaker. I even said to myself, I must be of some use. I didn't care much to chase money. In my world, I had done that, and I didn't find it appealing. Or appease to some indulgences of extreme pleasure. I could have often and easily gone out there and just pushed the buttons of the human need system in a way that alleviates some of the pleasures that it's derived from our monkey side. I enjoyed wanting to contribute myself in some way. You know what I mean? I still felt like I had something to give, but the thought alone had me sitting and imagining, like withering away, time, fragmented. I wasn't sure. I didn't know what was happening. There's a lot of things we're going to go into my story in the back end for what ended up happening to me, and kind of where I found my mind broken apart, as it tragedy kind of does that thing to people sometimes. So I had to kind of piece myself back together. It's a long story. Every human I've ever met, I'm sure they have a story that is longer than anyone could tell. But the idea that, if I could share some of where I've been through to allow for some grasp of what it is that where I'm speaking from, maybe that could help anyone else along these pathways. It's important. I didn't want to throw it away, my life I'm talking about. So here, now, after almost 2 years of really feeling awake and whole in spirit, my being has become more powerful and grown stronger with the will to produce good in the world that would be fit for all my visions of how we as living things could want to make it forward. I wish to become better with every chance I can see to take wantingly. As I grow and humbly contribute my gifts, I have discovered I wish to serve us, we, humans. My mind is strange, and my vernacular a mix of people, place, and thing. I believe it is of value to the human story. Thus I offer it forward as our right to benefit from each one of us. That should be from each one of us. Or benefit for each one of us. Interesting. Sorry, y'all. Like I said, straight from the mind. Typos in notes form. Letter to the universe could as easily be a letter to the inside part of me that wants very much to give outwardly of all compassion. Piaget, creator of the rules, moral height of some kind. Need term. Perhaps, one could, that was a thought I was grappling with. It was at the time, it was like perhaps one could find their way forward so far they could begin to try to help be the creator of rules as far as transcend who they are and where their place is, and begin to try to look at humanity with whatever gifts they have to try to help make the new set of rules or bound us together with the new set of moral principles to guide forward. Anyway, that was something I was thinking about. I know I put a note here for that. What would happen is the question. Could this shape the very fabric of all infinite moments? If we collectively summon the energy unknowingly, meandering thoughts down a cold liquid river of space, I assume, with no reason to digress at this time. What I do from here is begin to communicate. My path will be to show by example how anyone of us can start now to decide to find your own unique fit in this moment in time. Since the universe is listening, and all the me's have gathered to cultivate thought, then I'd like to say a few things. Whatever I am, it is wonderful. Whatever this life is, it is a gift. Whatever lies beyond this, I cannot wait. I believe I've struggled through my life not being whole, and I feel the change that has begun that day when I found Joe Rogan, the day the game stopped, the day the life felt different. That day, something has pieced back what is me. That something is purpose. I am not shattered, as I will explain all the things I mentioned here in depth as stated, but I was. There are things yet to discover, but I am not just existing pieces of my whole as I was before. This self is able to conceptualize infinite selves, writing to you now. And this energy sparked through the collective gathering I am asking for its wave to impact this conscious reality. Spark, I say, gather the flame and cherish the light. I don't know where I'll land, but I have nothing to fear. We as a collective consciousness have much to gain. I believe that I can make a difference. How? I do not have to bear yet. I guess that's the end of my thoughts. Interesting. Well, yeah, we'll play the game from there. But yeah, so I feel like I was reaching out far with the conception, or more like the feeling that all things were possible, and that if I wrote this into existence here somehow, its strength alone, if all of me through all the multiverses of all time and all infinite timelines or whatever you believe in, whatever possibilities are out there, if we all summon the will to consciously write this type of letter, or this type of just reach out, even if mentally, to the universe to bring a wave or something towards me to impact whatever it was that I was trying to do or be at the time. That was about 7 months ago. That letter that I wrote about 7 months ago. It's been a lot of interesting things happen since then, like ups and downs, and I've still barely yet to be able to get out to communicate. This is one of the first signs of me communicating outwardly that I've done in quite a while, and there's many things for that. I think that it's going to be best for me to kind of just start talking more and more as I break down a little bit as I go further into these conversations. And like I said, when I get a chat that starts to communicate a little more and we can talk these things through, the some of the questions can be pinpointed more directly. But for now, I'm just going to kind of go off my expressions and whatnot. Um, but yeah, that was kind of intense a little bit because it felt like it was summoning something much more than I could ever purchase or gather out here in whatever this is. It speaks more to the internal self. Like what I was seeking was some way to pull together everything that I believed in and find energy from a source that I consider beyond whatever this is in a way that would help maybe even impact this, even by writing it would just impact me to impact this reality somehow. So it feels interesting. It feels like nothing is lost in these I guess, iterations of my mind, but it's like I need to build habits and structure and form so that I can start to realize some of these things in life as they come forward. So as I try to give my all and get whatever it is that I'm gathering from these thoughts out into the open, it's going to be difficult and it's going to require energy and consume some of whatever it is that I'm riding on. But it needs to be, it's much more worth it. It needs to be there. It's almost like it has to be this way. So I guess I'll get better at communicating and practicing what I'm doing. For sure, I'll get better. I guess. Silliness. Of course, I'll be getting better. We'll go beast mode in this thing soon enough. But it would probably do me well to have someone to communicate with eventually, as we go down this road. And I have a lot to say, and I'm sparked off of the other people around me as well, because that helps provide some kind of foundations that which to jump off back and forth from and to land back onto, so you can continue the conversations. That's ultimately why I first began trying this stuff and what it's all about. I really wanted to just communicate best I could with the intentions that I've stated, so that I can find a way out there, and try to begin to explore who I was in my morality and what I can contribute to what I'm best suited for. There must be some reason why I've lived this life, why I've struggled the ways that I have uniquely to myself, and why I've seen what I've seen and believe what I believe uniquely to myself. And hopefully I'll be able to find like-minded individuals and communicate these things outwardly in a way that I can help others along different paths see another point of view that they can gather information from. Because at the end of the day, this is what I believe, this is what I thought, this is what I said. This is just me. So y'all gonna have to kind of take it for what it's worth and handle your business accordingly, and chop it up, peep game, enjoy whatever you think is right or wrong about it, and continue down the road. The only thing that I ask people is that when you take into consideration other people's point of view, you ride kind of like a movie would. You don't stop and analyze the physics of a movie or the implications of what it means that all these people in outer space speak the same language or can understand each other. Like there's so many things you could pick apart in a movie before the movie gets started that it would dilute the general principles and what it has to offer. But if you were to just to keep an open mind and explore down these pathways what another person is trying to project from a different point of view, or your point of view but maybe a different angle that you can cut it, you might find some gems in there that are well worth your time and efforts. So that's what I think about all these things when I hear lectures and other people talk, and when I myself am communicating. I hope others just grip a hold of this in a way that is of value to them in their life, even from just a perspective. Maybe even if they say, hey, well, that's some shit I'd never do right there. Look at this guy. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Like, who the fuck knows? Like, there's a million and one trillion to how many viewpoints that are going to be derived from these conversations that I'm going to put forth out there. But hopefully I'll be able to present some kind of thing that itches inside of you, that there's also part of what you've been thinking of in some way, shape, or form, or maybe you have something to. The goal is to open the dialogue up so that other people can contribute as well, and that way we can get stronger. There's a growth forming here that allows for us to be better people through this communication, and never before has it been able to be like this, where we can instantly communicate back and forth. This has been a goal of mine and a vision of mine for maybe a year and a half or 2 years now, as I've been expressing some of my views from thinking and talking about some of these letters and some of the stuff that I've been writing. I've never written things in my world. Like, I've written things, actually, it's not true. I've written things on paper, little jits and tidbits. I actually went through a lot of the notes that I've written throughout my life. There's been a lot of stuff there that I've still yet to decipher. But I never actively sought to write for a while. But, so here and now I've been kind of clearly going down the pathway as I can't contain. As I get older and my information, it's getting more in my mind, and certain things are in and out as we continue down that pathway of learning. I'm trying to contain these things that I'm feeling, and the video format is going to be another segue into containing thoughts and working on things as far as what's in my mind and trying to figure out what's happening. So I find this quite fruitful, even if for myself, even though I'm really speaking just kind of outwardly right now. I think we're gonna get a lot of shit done. And as far as this letter, it says that I feel like I'm on the right pathway. There's something it's sparking inside of me, some type of intuitive measurement that I can go by. That's giving me the feeling inside that says we're heading down the right path. So steady as she goes, y'all.